Everyone. Welcome to the Hockey Podcast. We are live. You can, of course, follow us on Twitter at podcast_hockey, Facebook.com, the Hockey Podcast, YouTube.com, the Hockey Podcast, where we currently still sit at the 100 and Martin Straka of subscribers. And, of course, you can subscribe to the audio, which will be up shortly after this broadcast. Cold open today. We will be recapping the Calgary Flames 5-3 victory over the New Jersey Devils. But I'll be polite. Hello, Devin.
Hey, Kev.
This is a tough day, and I'm going to just let you know that we're going to be talking about some very difficult subjects here to start off. But, before the game, we get into the game, I think we do need to discuss the news of the day, the announcement from the Chicago Blackhawks about the results of the allegations of a sexual assault investigation that goes all the way back to 2010. The victim has not been named, has been named John Doe, but involved the video coach Brad Aldrich, allegedly involved in all of this. The report was quite scathing, and it reported. I'm going to try to find the tweets here as we do this. I think it might be easier to read what others have said as opposed to me, because I know that I'm going to be one. I'm the one of normal calm, but this is a hard one to talk about. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, no, it's a very tough subject. We've had a lot of those within the past, 2 years. It's been a hard look for the NHL and who they have employed, and as far as getting the tweets, I feel like that is probably the best way to really go about things instead of trying to talk about it and dissect it the way that we want to talk about it. We'll do that after. But as far as direct quotes go, I feel like that's probably the best way to go.
Yeah. So basically, will basically said. Just going back here, I'm going from Mark Lazarus's tweet. So he was the one that was following that. So Shar, the lawyer, basically 139 witnesses were interviewed. It was Reed Shar of Jenner and Block said, "We and we alone designed and executed the investigation with no limits from the Blackhawks." Shar said John McDonough, Stan Bowman, Al MacIssac, Kevin Cheveldayoff, and Jay Blunk and Joel Quenneville were all informed of the allegations on May 23rd. Accounts of that meeting vary significantly. Shar said that John McDonough, who was the president of the Blackhawks at the time, and the other senior leaders did nothing until June 14th after the playoffs, when McDonough informed the director of HR. This is back in 2010. Shar said the Blackhawks allowed Brad Aldrich to participate in the celebrations in the presence of John Doe. So John Doe went to management and they went to human resources, and I can imagine how difficult that is. Shar said the investigation revealed no evidence that Rocky Wirtz and Danny Wirtz knew about the allegations. Danny Wirtz's report said basically the report is both disturbing and difficult to read. It speaks for itself. It basically the report also indicated, it does implicate Kevin Cheveldayoff and Joel Quenneville, but Stan Bowman, the quote from Danny Wirtz as he stepped aside, as well as Al MacIssac, he is out. Danny Wirtz did say that anyone part of the organization is no longer in 2010 is no longer part of the organization for management. Kyle Davidson is the interim GM. We don't need to get into him at this particular point. Danny Wirtz said the 2010 Blackhawks put team performance above all else. John Doe deserved better than from the Blackhawks. Danny Wirtz apologized on behalf of the Blackhawks and says we must and will do better, and we intend to win championships without compromising our integrity. Danny Wirtz was not with the team in 2010. It should be noted. Did and said the right things with the Blackhawks 2010 senior management. That's from Mark Lasser. That's opinion. And I'll read Danny Wirtz's statement on Stan Bowman. Rocky and I appreciate Stan's dedication to the Blackhawks and his many years of work for the team. However, we and he ultimately accept that in his first year as general manager, he made a mistake alongside our senior executives at the time. It did not take adequate action in 2010. Stan exhibited extreme professionalism and integrity in cooperating in the investigation, more so than his peers, and we cannot overstate the important role Stan played in revisiting that meeting in the report. I believe that if this has happened in 2021 with Stan at the helm, the Stan that I know and we know would have acted differently and would have been a louder voice in that room. Okay. As far as Bowman goes, he is also out as he read a statement today. I'll read the statement. Since joining the Blackhawks in 2000, I have been extremely grateful for the opportunities presented to me and proud of our accomplishments. This organization, beginning with the Wirtz family, has been extraordinarily good to my family and to me. That is why today, after discussions with Rocky and Danny, I have decided to step aside. The team needs to focus on its future, and my continued participation would be a distraction. I think too much of this organization to let that happen. 11 years ago, while serving in my first year as general manager, I was made aware of a potential inappropriate behavior by then video coach involving a player. I promptly reported the matter to the then president and CEO, who committed to handling the matter. I learned this year that the inappropriate behavior involved a serious allegation of sexual assault. I relied on the direction of my superior that he would take appropriate action. Looking back now, knowing he did not handle the matter promptly, I regret assuming he would do so. I want you to hold on to that paragraph here for a second. I am confident that this organization and the Wirtz family will continue to do what it takes to win championships with integrity and with the goal of doing what is right. I am deeply grateful to the Blackhawks for the chance to manage the team, to the players for their dedication, and to the fans for their tremendous support over the years. It has been an honor to have been part of this incredible organization and to serve the best fans in hockey in the greatest city in the world. I will always cherish my time with the Chicago Blackhawks on behalf of myself and my family. Thank you. I want to go back to this paragraph here. 11 years ago, when serving in my first year as general manager, I was made aware of potential inappropriate behavior by a then video coach involving a player. I promptly reported the matter to the then president and CEO, who committed to handling the matter. I learned this year that the inappropriate behavior involved a serious allegation of sexual assault. I relied on the direction of my superior that he would take appropriate action. Okay, hold on here. So what you're telling me is you waited 12 years, 11 years to follow up on an allegation. Are you kidding me with this? Like you are telling me this is direct quote. This is his statement that you did not follow up after the player came to you about your video coach. You left it to your president and CEO, and you learned nothing. You did nothing about it, and you just learned about it this year. Are you kidding me with this?
Yeah, it just seems like a scapegoat, to be honest. Trying to wash his hands clean of it all and try and move on with it without having any sort of consequence. Not one of a leader, as far as I'm concerned. Definitely disappointing and beyond disappointing, and very, very disturbing that he is willing to take that route and try and wash his hands of it all. I'm sure he got some sort of direction from a PR staff, whether or not that's through the Blackhawks or through his own agency. It's just despicable in my mind.
Yeah, I totally agree. Bowman is also stepped aside from the U.S. Olympic team as general manager. That was asked. There were requests to have him suspended that were denied. So there's a few other places where you got to toss some blame here. And
Mhm.
I want to start with the NHL, who basically fined the Blackhawks one home game of revenue. That is what $2 million is. You as someone pointed out on Twitter, you fine the Vancouver Canucks for Roberto Luongo's cap recapture penalty more than that. You actually find the New Jersey Devils Ilya Kovalchuk for their cap recapture penalty more than that. And the Arizona Coyotes were fined a first round draft pick. This to me is just it is such a slap in the wrist for an investigation. And at this point, I think a standing ovation to Rick Westhead, Katie Strang specifically, and anyone else that was digging through the story that no one else that everyone else was kind of ignoring at the time. Good on them for bringing this up. This was in the radar most of the offseason, through the Stanley Cup final, through the Stanley Cup playoffs, and you come away with $2 million. Just that is a slap on the wrist.
It really is, and going to Arizona, yeah, the first round draft pick that could be potentially the amount of revenue that could bring in with ticket sales, jersey sales, throughout potentially the entire an entire decade, depending on how well that player does. It really is a slap on the wrist, and I'm still processing it throughout receiving all the information. I don't know how the NHL is going to be able to recover. I know they will, which is either take it as a good or a bad thing. But it's one of those things where we really need to shake our head. And I feel like even just saying those words, shake your head and a slap on the wrist, is it doesn't do it justice as far as verbally stating the correct way to really do what has happened justice, considering that the video coach has gone on and has done the same thing afterwards through the rest of his career. As far as I'm concerned, he should be in jail and deserves to be trialed by jury, as far as I'm concerned, because this is not just one incident; it's multiple incidents, and holy fuck, it's a crying shame. And once again, that the words don't do it justice.
Yeah. Let's see here. Let's continue. Let me just make sure I get everything else here. And I'm sorry if I'm reading too much. I think it's the easier way to do this for us. Just going to continue to. This is Kevin Cheveldayoff's statement. I've shared everything I know about this matter as part of my participation in Jenner and Block's investigation. That is reflected in today's investigation report. Further, I look forward to my discussion with Commissioner Bettman at the soonest possible date to continue to cooperate fully with the National Hockey League. I will reserve any further comment until after that conversation has been conducted. Basically, the Florida Panthers have addressed a similar statement regarding Joel Quenneville. They will not have a comment on the matter until Gary Bettman speaks. Interesting enough, the Winnipeg Jets PR tweeted this out and did not allow anyone to reply. And as far as the John Doe, I also a couple of other things here. I want to read something from Katie Strang as well. For 3 weeks after this group was informed of allegations, no action was taken. During that period, Aldrich traveled and worked with the team. He celebrated the team in the presence of. He got his own ring. He got a ring, and then he was given the option to resign, it is a 177-page report. I did read some of it. I didn't read all of it, but I got into it a little bit. And Rick Westhead interviewed John Doe 1, and this is his statement. And then the lawyer, Susan Loggins, was on Sports Center if you want to take the opportunity of that. But this is his statement. Today, I'm grateful for the accountability from Rocky, Danny Wirtz, and the Blackhawks organization. I want to also thank Jenner and Block and specifically Reed Sharp for the respect he and they showed me throughout their investigation. Although nothing can truly change the detriment to my life over the past decades because of the actions of one man inside the Blackhawks organization, I am very grateful to have the truth be recognized, and I look forward to continuing the long journey to recovery. I would like to thank Susan Loggins for her support and belief in me throughout this process. I also would not be here today without the love and support of families and friends, and I know I am not the only victim in this world of sexual abuse, and I hope my story can inspire change within the NHL and the world. And I am still speechless. Rick Westhead also pointed out a couple of lights in part of his tweet thread. As horrible as this story has been to cover, there have been a few bright lights. One is Paul Vincent, a former Chicago coach. Oops, well, I clicked something wrong there. Good job, Kevin. But one is former Chicago coach Paul Vincent, who came forward, talked on the record about what happened during the 2010 playoffs. Without Vincent, I'm not sure anyone pays attention to the story. This has gotten a little further because it got to the NHL Players Association, and Donald Fear's name has been mentioned as someone that was made aware. This is according to Ben Pope, CST. NHLPA Director John O'Fear was informed in 2010 and 2011 about Aldridge's assault of John Doe, and also Aldridge texting a picture to another Hawks player, according to the investigation. But Farah evidently did little or nothing and now denies recollection of that. And it is in the report on April 18, 2011, an individual who we will refer to as professional acquaintance of Black Ace One wrote an email to the executive director of the NHLPA, Donald Fear. The acquaintance wrote, I know you have spoken with blank regarding an incident with John Doe and a Chicago staff member during the Stanley Cup playoffs last year. Black Ace One was involved as well, and I got him in touch, a therapist affiliated with the NHLPA, approximately 2 weeks ago. However, I did want to have a follow-up with yourself. And experienced an incident with coach and now working at USA Hockey. The confident recalled that Fear responded that he knew people at USA Hockey that the NHLPA would look into the situation, that the NHLPA could offer support. The confident recalled that Fear suggested that the individual could speak to an NHLPA-affiliated therapist, even though the individual was not an NHLPA member. When interviewed, Fear stated he did not recall a conversation with John Doe's confidant, although he did not deny such a conversation occurred. I guess the only way to say this is as this. Apologies for reading all this again, but this is a mess that I think we just have scratched the surface of. We haven't heard yet from the Winnipeg Jets. They are playing tonight in Anaheim. The Florida Panthers play tomorrow. The Chicago Blackhawks play the Toronto Maple Leafs tomorrow. I think that this is just the tip of the iceberg. I hope that John Doe. I'm glad and hope that John Doe, for the best for John Doe, and I think the NHL. I think there's a lot of people that need to be wearing some egg on their face today.
100%. I want to start with Donald Fear. If the fact that you don't recollect this, okay, well, how many times has this been brought up? And you quote unquote don't recollect this. This incident that is very prominent, that is disturbing, and that is it that should stick out in your fucking mind. I'm sorry. You're the head of the Players Association of the NHL, of one of the top 4 leagues in the world. And you're deciding to plead ignorance and say, "Oh, I don't remember." That's complete and utter fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
You deserve to go to jail for this. That might seem like a bold statement, but as of right now, yes, 100%. If it all comes out that you're deciding to brush this under the fucking rug, that is completely and utterly unacceptable, and that is an understatement. You're talking about not just one person, multiple people who have been subject to this inappropriate behavior, and you're deciding to plead ignorance. I'm sorry, you're a fucking coward.
Yeah, that I can't disagree with anything you said there. I think, Donald Fear, Kevin Cheveldayoff, Joe. I feel, I think I'm most. I don't know who I'm mostly disappointed with. I'm just in general just disappointed. Just everyone now is talking. I mean, again, the hockey culture conversation is coming up here, and part of the problem here is, even with this story, 2 or 3 people carried the boat on this, and everyone else kind of stood by and watched. And that's part of it. And I think the thing that just rubs me the wrong way, and the thing is that they decided that a party in Chicago, to have a Stanley Cup party, a championship party, was far more important than a player's accusation of sexual assault. And part of the report is Joel Quenneville, when he was made aware, says we're trying to win a Stanley Cup. I don't have time to deal with this issue. It looks so it's just gross. And I expected and was hoping some swift action from the other 2 organizations here, and just in terms of let's go back to, I mean, the NHL still hasn't given us any result of the Bill Peters investigation, but the fact of the matter is Brad, when Akeem Alou tweeted out about Brad Peters, it was good for Brad or Bill Peters, who would have been blindsided during the game. But the fact of the matter is Brad Treliving just said, you know what, Bill Peters is, we're going to just keep him behind here. We're gonna take the hammer on this right now. Not seeing that from either the Winnipeg Jets or the Florida Panthers, and that bothers me. That really does. This statement from Cheveldayoff is crap. And the response, I am not impressed with the response from both the Winnipeg Jets and the Florida Panthers at this particular point. It's hard not to wonder a little bit about Mark Bergevin, who was part of that organization, not specifically named in this investigation. So maybe I think we can leave him out of that in terms, I guess, of some way, shape, or form. But this is, I think, it's not only the Blackhawks that should feel some egg on their face, but I think the entire NHL, and I think the hockey community needs to feel some egg on their face.
I do agree with you, Kev, that it is unacceptable what the NHL has, in my mind, mandated for both those organizations and what they need to say. It doesn't surprise me that there is nothing really to be said as of right now, as far as Cheveldayoff and Quenneville are concerned, and the statements that both those organizations have put out. It is such a political move and a legal move for them just to have that statement and nothing else. Eventually, yes, I would like them to come out and be truthful to us about how exactly everything went down and what they knew at the time. If that would ever happen, that would be a step in the right direction. But man, it's such a legal move and a very strategical move for them, and I'm sure with their lawyers to have that statement. So, man, and you know what? It's to me, it's not so much like the people who are talking about the hockey mentality and what was your actual quote there, Kev?
The hockey culture.
Hockey culture. I feel like that culture is spread throughout the world. It's okay if you're going to move up within this whatever, insert organization, insert whatever kind of career you're in. And you have to do this in order for, as you know, saying that what the video coach said to that to John Doe, saying that, okay, well, you know what, if you're not going to do this for me, then I will rub your name in the dirt and you will never, ever work or even play at a high level of hockey ever again. That's exactly what happened. And that mentality and that being scared bleeds throughout the organization of the Blackhawks. It bleeds throughout the organization of anything that is that young people or people just in general want to, you know, climb the tier to be a better to get paid better money, to be a part of something that they, you know, want to be a part of. And the fact that all of them were just as scared as John Doe for stepping out and talking about it, as John Doe was probably, I'm assuming, scared and, you know, forced to do something he didn't want to do. It's not just hockey culture. It's everywhere. It really is. So the people who are saying that hockey culture needs to change, yes, you are right. But it is us as humanity, as broad of a stupid blanket statement that is, there are people out there who are doing this not just in hockey. It is within NFL. This is me assuming that it's within the NFL, NBA. Young people. I mean, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen to middle-aged or older people too, because I'm sure it does. But in this instance, younger people have a lot more ambition and saying like, okay, I will do whatever it takes to get to wherever I want to be. So as you can tell, I'm baffled. I don't know how else to say it, but it's a fucking crying shame.
Well, and where I do agree with you is I think, you know, society and professional sports has not handled these situations very well. I mean, at all. It's been mostly, you know, a number of people having to come forward, and it takes far too long for this for justice to come out. And I think that that needs to change. And I think I just want one of these leagues at this particular point to lay the hammer down, and the NHL didn't do it today. And to me, it's, if you were disappointed in the NHL, you have every right to be, because today was not today. It was not good. I'm not gonna sit here and I don't think I can defend any part of that. So,
well, I'm very interested and curious to see exactly what happens within these private conversations that Gary Bettman is going to be having with Joel Quenneville and Kevin Cheveldayoff, and what comes of that, and whether or not they. Kev, I'm sorry to say, man, but I feel like we're not going to get a satisfying aha moment or answer within this investigation. And like I said, after the conversations that Bettman has with those two NHL employed players and people, it's just the reality of things, which is shitty, because the legal system and lawyers are going to get involved, and it's just going to be, you know, try and essentially not brush it. Well, probably try and brush it under the rug as much as possible, and see if they can salvage something out of this as far as their careers and their public figure goes. Because Bill Peters, I believe, is in the KHL right now. Am I not wrong?
he is in the KHL, yes.
And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe not Cheveldayoff, but as far as Quenneville as a coach, he might go up there and coach in the KHL. I mean, he's made a shit ton of money, or he might just retire and ride off in the sunset on the money that he's made from, essentially staying quiet. and not saying a damn thing. And my biggest thing that is so disappointing is that we have Joel Quenneville on the hierarchy of NHL US born coaches. Or is he Canadian? I forget.
I want to say he's Canadian. Let me just quickly Google that, because I
mean, either way, it's we. As
he's
far as
considered, he is considered a top level coach. You're right.
Yes, and like before all this stuff has come out, we're wondering, okay, so he got fired as a Blackhawks head coach. Where is he going to end up? He took 2 years off, and the reason why Florida is doing so well is because of the coaching from Joel Quenneville. And, you know, as good of a coach as he is, I'm really questioning whether or not he's a good human being.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see where the Florida Panthers go from here. That you know, they're so far they're unbeaten. I certainly don't think I'm going to expect them to go unbeaten throughout the year, but now it is interesting, that as well. But maybe we'll leave that for that there. I just kind of focus on, where we're at, and and the other thing that just one more thing, and then we'll move on here. But the fact that the Blackhawks did not take any media questions today, also I think is a disappointment. Just a briefing in a white office somewhere, probably downtown Chicago, and the Blackhawks have some work to do on and off the ice. They definitely have some work to do. Yeah.
Well, and Kev, you did. I don't know if you want to bring this up, but I'm going to bring it up. You did say that there is players that have come, or the allegations that players have made fun of John Doe within that. So you could probably speak better to it.
Yeah. Tweet from Mike Stevens basically saying that when John Doe came back, that players were mocking him, asking him where his boyfriend Brad was. So there were players interviewed. I think the only ones that have come forward publicly were Brent Sokol and Nick Boynton. So this is just everywhere around this. It's one of those situations that it's a mess.
Yep. And I'm one to make these statements. If whoever was making fun of John Doe for that, you should be your contract should be void, and you should get the fuck out of the NHL, as far as I'm concerned, and go. And it just seems like the KHL is just the league that players and coaches go to that are banned from the NHL.
Yeah,
they don't give a shit what personality you have or what your morals are over there. As long as you play hockey well or coach well, that's all they care about. So get the fuck out of North America and go to Russia, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, and again, this is not teens. So these are adults. Yep. These are adults and professional hockey players doing this. And so, even if there was teens, there's no excuse for this, but there's especially no excuse for adults to be doing this. And I don't care if you're in your 20s, don't care if you're in your 30s.
Yep.
It's just ridiculous. Egg on the face today with the NHL. And that's I think, as best as we can leave it here. I think we did a pretty thorough job of covering this as best as we can. I'm no Rick Westhead, but I tried to give the information as best as I could. So,
and since we're on this note, this kind of somber note, to the person who is yelling at Elvis Merzlikins to not light fireworks around him, you should be banned from every NHL fucking arena. Every goddamn NHL arena, period. You don't deserve to get back and watch a hockey game. That is unbelievably unacceptable. And there's no legality behind it that you can get punished, but fuck you. You're a piece of shit. You're scum of the earth, and you do not deserve to watch live hockey in the NHL ever again.
Yeah, for those who don't know, a fan during the Dallas-Columbus game last night shouted at Elvis Merzlikins about late goaltender Matthias K. Sorry, just I'm going through so many things in my head, just can't quite pronounce his name. Right at his point, basically, that you shouldn't have fireworks around him, has just mocked him. After all that organization has been through, specifically Elvis has been through, he did not need that. And you're right, that fan should not be allowed to, definitely not be allowed back in Dallas games, and should be, I hope he does not get an opportunity to come here. Whoever this fan was does not get an opportunity to enjoy another game, because that is embarrassing. And it's why you can't blame a guy like Connor Garland for standing up to a fan and giving him the finger, right? It's, there's no need to pull this crap off. You have a choice when you get to a hockey game. If you want to drink a beer or not, that's your prerogative, but you pay your wage, or you pay your ticket, and you can, you have a right to some conduct, but when you cross the line like that, it's not acceptable.
It's crazy to think that fans think that they have a blanket over them that leaves them eligible to do whatever the fuck they want within that arena. And it's
it's the way that we are. If you look at Twitter, even too, Devin, I mean, people are tweeting anonymously at players, at coaches, at leaders, and they're just saying whatever the hell they want because they know that there's no consequence for it. And that probably where that fan is coming from. No one's gonna, I'm indestructible, I can say whatever the hell I want, no one will care. But I'm glad someone does, and that's good.
Yep. Well, listen, on this podcast, there's no room for any bullshit like that. So if you're going to be commenting, we've had a few in the past. Don't even fucking bother. So we have no time for this shit. And you can DM me if you have a problem with that.
Reminder about the contest. As we kind of level this up into another level here.
Yeah, that's good. Yes.
We've spent 37 minutes.
Yeah, 37 minutes. Yeah.
We do have a contest for those in Calgary. The Pig and Duke is partnering with us for a hockey game between the Calgary Flames and Vancouver Canucks. It's April 28th. The word of the day. Find the word of the day and retweet the podcast. We'll enter you an opportunity to get entered in three times into the draw. The word of the day, we'll just go with Flames for now for today. DM podcast _hockey. You'll be entered into that as well. So check that out for we'll have some other contests as well. But if you're interested in going to the Calgary Vancouver game in April, there's your opportunity. And check out the Pig and Duke while you're in Calgary. Great food, great beer, great service there. All right.
Honestly, they have the best wings. Tomorrow's wing night. If you're in Calgary and you haven't checked out the Pig and Duke for wings, they have the best wings in Calgary, period, and stop. It is phenomenal, and I suggest getting the Gangnam style wings. Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
All right. We'll remember for next time. Let's get to the game. The Calgary Flames are on a roll here. 4 in a row on the road. They back-to-back games of 5 goals. That beat the Rangers 5-1 last night. Beat the Devils 5-3 tonight. 4 goals in the first period. As we get 2 from Andre Monchiupani. Milan Lucic. Yes, Milan Lucic started the party today. And then that was from, I'll just go through Eric Gabranson. Again, Graham, drop 97 for 44, man. And then, or Oliver Shillington. Andrew Monchiupani scored unassisted to make it 2-0 at 10:08. Elias Lindholm on the power play, one of 2 power play goals from Rasmus Anderson and Johnny Gaudreau at 12:10, and then that pulled Noel Dawes and Wedgwood
Nigel?
came in. Nigel, no.
Oh,
What's his name? Dawes.
Nico Heischer?
No, well, Nico, no, not Nico.
Okay,
No.
so Nico Dawes. Sorry.
Nico
right.
Dawes. Thank you.
Yes.
They pull a Devin with the names. But Andrew Monchiupani, Scott Wedgwood went in net. Andrew Monchiupani got his 7th from Dylan Dubé, who had 2 assists tonight, made it 4-0. And then in the second, Daniel Vladar, who we suspected and did get the start and goal, paid tribute to Mike Smith with a gift to Pavel Zacha, made it 4-1. But credit to Vladar, because that was an opportunity for the Devils to kind of get themselves back into this game. But Vladar kind of stood his own there. And it was 4-1 after 2. Chuck on a power play from Monahan, his first assist, 5-1. And then this Dawson Mercer is something to watch. He scored on a goal that Daniel Vladar is not happy about because his helmet, the mask strap was off. He was trying to get the play stopped. The referee did not notice. Mercer went through the legs and scored from Johnson and Dougie Hamilton. And then Pavel Zacha scored from Mercer and Hamilton to make it 5-3. Overall, I think, the start for the Flames was great. 2 periods was great, but, back to back, they kind of lost their legs a little bit there, and it was 5-1. I think they just kind of took the foot off the gas a little bit, and this game got closer than it should have been. But a couple things I think I want to get into here is, do you know that Johnny Gaudreau does not have a goal this year?
Surprising enough, I do, just because I have him in one of my hockey leagues, and that's the only reason why. But hey, he's what is he at? He's a point per game right now, is he not? Over point per game?
He's got 8 assists.
Yep. And
I would argue that this is the best that Johnny Gaudreau has played with the Flames in at least a couple of years.
And you know what? Who is not centering him, Kev? Who is not centering him?
Yeah.
It is Sean Monahan, and it is Elias Lindholm, who is actually centering that top unit with Tkachuk on the other wing. And I feel like we've been talking about this for at least 2 years, trying to figure out, okay, where is the best place for Johnny Gaudreau? And right now it looks like it's center. It's on that top line without Sean Monahan. And Sean Monahan was a product of Johnny Gaudreau giving him the puck in the slot, and he was able to capitalize the majority of the time. So, I feel for Monahan, but at the same time, Gaudreau, it seems to be flourishing outside of having him as a center. I think there's also the fact that anytime that we see a player as high caliber as Johnny Gaudreau in a contract year, you see him flourish as well as he is, and because he wants to get paid. And so this is one of those things where I feel that there's a bunch of factors that have been able to be positive within this year for him.
Yeah, I feel like his game. I think there's just more energy for this year. I just think that all of that happened last year and the last couple of years. Is just he's playing just a lot better. He's game, and it's not only the offensive side. I've seen him prove he is going behind his own blue line, making some defensive plays as well. I mean, it's hard to. Yeah, he's been really good. And I don't think we've talked about him yet enough. And I know, as I said, not a goal yet, but at least so far, he's off to a really good start.
His goals don't mean anything like this. Okay, well, goal with Johnny Gaudreau, the fact that he's producing the way he is, goals don't mean much. I'm sorry. He's very much if you look at Jonathan Huberdeau, the amount of assists that he gets, but he is way more than the amount of goals that he gets. And I feel like Johnny Gaudreau is the exact same way as a Huberdeau is. And you just want to make sure that that he is playing with those type of players that are able to capitalize. And to transition over to another player who is playing absolutely out of his fucking mind right now, Andrew Monchiupani. He has been phenomenal within these first 5 games of regular season, or is it 6 now?
That's 4-1-1. That would be 6 games. Yeah,
6 games. Yeah. It's absolutely crazy to think that if he keeps on this trajectory that he would be top in the league for goals, because right now he's top 5 in goals in this league, and no one would ever think that he would be within that realm of people of top end players at the beginning of this year. So the fact that he is doing what he's doing right now, I hope that he's able to sustain it. And obviously, yes, he's not probably going to be able to sustain the trajectory that he's on. But if he somewhat keeps that fire under him, and that passion that he's wanting to go hard to the net and produce like he is, God, we talked about Oliver Shillington being found money on the back end there. This is found money being in the top 6.
I think that his production, I kind of felt like Monchiupani was probably a top 6 forward here. I think the way he's playing and his production is where the found money is. I feel. But I mean, I certainly feel like from the World Championships on this, that he has found another level in his game, and hopefully he can keep it up the way that he is. And we'll have to see. That we know that there'll be ups and downs, but he's certainly on an interesting trajectory, and I think that this is a long shot, but I wonder if there is some eyes on the Olympics here for Monchiupani. It's a long shot, but the way he performed at the World Championships, I know the Canadian brass always appreciates that. I think that he has the one advantage that he has is he went over during the pandemic. I don't know. I don't think he makes it, but I do think that they're going to at least have to consider Andrew Monchiupani.
I love that thought, Kev. Do you remember who made the Canadian Olympic team? That was very much a question mark back in 2014 or 2012. 2010. Yes, 2010, 2014. Chris Kunitz.
Yeah.
The reason why he went is because he was playing so well with Sidney Crosby. And, Monchiupani could be that wild card that could be within that. And you're right. The Canadian Hockey Canada has a bit of allegiance towards players who do play for them within the World Championships, within World Juniors. And if you're consistent within that and you say yes all the time, that player is definitely on their radar. And Monchiupani could be that player that could be the Chris Kunitz of 2022. Yeah,
I'm not saying he makes it. I do think that there will be a look his way if he keeps it up. Now, I think there's lots that can happen here still. So,
yep.
But that's certainly a guy. The other, just to throw something else out there. Where does Lindholm play on Sweden, and does he play with Pettersson? Can you imagine the Eliases together?
Oh, I have. So what? My question is, okay, what's the center depth within that country? So you have Pettersson, you have Lindholm, you have Landeskog that can play center. Who else is Swedish who plays center there? Because that's my only thing is that if you don't have that center depth, then I've been talking about this with the Flames. I talked about this last time on the podcast, and I've been talking about this for years. His shot and his release is sneaky damn good. And if you have him on the wing, just shooting and worrying about making sure that he is. I guess we forgot about Michael Backlund being a center as well, so he could be a third line center or a second line center on that Sweden team. But if Lindholm,
I don't think Backlund's on the team. To be honest with you, sorry. I mean,
what?
He
captained last. He was captain of the Swedish team for the World Championships. I don't know if it was last year, if it was the year before. Man, Kev, I don't like that take, man.
Well, you got Zibanejad, you got William Karlsson, you got Philip Forsberg. I mean,
with those organizations, it's not so much about what position you play; it's about how good you are.
Yeah, if he is, he's fourth. I think he's fourth line. I don't see it. I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's okay to be wrong every once in a while. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
that's good. That's my line to Sean whenever I think he's being an idiot, and I don't think you're being an idiot. I think that
you're Nicholas Backstrom.
Nick Backstrom's there too. Yeah, I'm just gonna bring up here the Athletic and their projections for the Olympics for Team Sweden. Just give me a second here. If you want to fill, go for it.
While you're doing that, I'll go through kind of just quickly here the stats. Monchiupani 2 goals, 1401. Elias Lindholm a goal. He played 1 shot and goal, 1906, 15-21 on the face-off circle. Dylan Dubé, strong game. I didn't think there was anyone that was really awful today. There was a really bad giveaway from Noah Hannafin. Blake Coleman continues to be impressed. Tyler Pitlick, I think his game is starting to get there. Valimaki almost got into a fight. The ref would not let that happen.
Yeah, that's too bad.
And for the Devils, the guy that try to always say that one player I'm always looking forward to watching another team. And Dawson Mercer, man, I'm telling you, I think he was by far and away the best Devil on the ice. I know Pavel Zacha got the 2 goals, but Mercer was just in the fabric of the game. He was certainly on it in the third period once he got that 5-2 goal. Man, that kid, that might be, you talk about found money for the Devils. That's found money that he is this good this early. So,
yeah, they definitely have something within that Dawson Mercer kid. I was talking about Lucas Raymond last podcast or 2 podcasts ago. He's along those same lines. It's crazy to think that he is as young as he is, and especially with Kevin, you've mentioned Nico Hischier of the New Jersey Devils as well, being very a player you want to watch and very prominent within the preseason, and especially with Jack Hughes being out with a separated shoulder. He's up there for sure for driving play, and I mean they named him captain for a reason. Yeah. So having him as a bit of a mentor towards Dawson Mercer, that's huge.
Yeah. I mean, he sure didn't, no points tonight, but he had 2 shots on goal, a hit, 22-35 of ice time, 2 block shots. Fairly noticeable. You're down 4-0 in the first period. You're not getting the goaltending that you want. You're kind of in the back end and you're kind of playing catch up.
Yeah.
So.
And as far as Team Sweden goes, so the Athletic, I mean, this isn't really good podcasting, but I'm gonna run down the list here of the forwards that they have projected to
Dude,
be
I
on the
just read
team.
tweets for 20 minutes.
Fair enough. All right, so as their top line, they have Pettersson, Zibanejad, Lindholm. So Lindholm is on the wing within that top line, and God, like I said, that shot that's a deadly top line, and they have Pettersson on the wing. Second line, they have Landeskog, Backstrom, and Willie Nylander. Third line, you have Joel Eriksson Ek, Hornquist, and Philip Forsberg. And then fourth line, they have projected Burakovsky, Carlson, and Arvidsson. And Kevin, to your credit, the last two forwards are Carly Jarnkrok, yep, and Michael Backlund. So there's definitely some debate there whether or not you see William Karlsson ahead of Backlund in consideration because of how shitty Vegas has really come out and started their season in consideration to where Michael Backlund is with the Flames. So that could be interchangeable, and as far as I'm concerned, and maybe have a bit of a rosy glasses on as I talk about Backlund, because I feel like especially within these past two games, he's really line of Pitlick, Coleman, and Backlund have really shined. So everything could change, but I do see him on the team for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's fully appreciated in the league as much as maybe here in Calgary, but when he's on the Flames win more often than not. And I do like this Backlund, Coleman, Pitlick line. I think it works. It's just I think Blake Coleman. I'm looking forward to later in the year where we can severely debate Blake Coleman and Zach Hyman again. When we have Graham on, because I think it's just a fascinating debate. Both have been really good for their teams in different ways. Hyman has produced more offensively probably than Coleman has. But Coleman, I just really like what he's been bringing to the team too. So,
well, with Hyman, it's like he's playing with two of the best centers in the league at any point in time in the game. So it's as Backlund is a great centerman, Blake Coleman is not playing with a Leon Draisaitl or Connor McDavid.
No.
And I mean, your argument is sound within that.
Yeah. It's two different kind of styles with two different ways that they're expecting their player to play. So
And I would love to see Coleman on that, I guess, what I'm calling the second line of Monchiupani and Dubé. I would love to see that just because of the offensive output that is kind of projected and I guess expected from Coleman, especially since we're paying him $5.2 million a year for the next 6 years. I feel like putting him up on that top line, or sorry, not top line, but second line, and kind of showing those guys, Dubé and Monchiupani, what to do, because I feel like they're cut from the same cloth. They're gritty as fuck, and he does have more skill than Brett Ritchie. I'm sorry, Brett Ritchie. As far as I'm concerned, you're a fourth liner. The fact that you're playing second line minutes is beyond me. But that's Daryl Sutter for you.
I think he creates room for Dubé and Monchiupani. I think he's sort of a placeholder for Monahan until Monahan gets his game together. But I do agree with you. I mean, eventually Monahan's going to get up in that top 9 somewhere. He's not staying in that fourth line role. So there will be some tinkering later in the year at some point here for sure. So,
and to your point about Monahan, I think that he's taking the demotion in stride. I think he understands that he hasn't been playing that well, and having those fourth line minutes. I don't think people are thinking about this, but having those fourth line minutes to play against, bottom 6 players, because that's usually what happens unless they're on the road and off a face-off, the opposing team decides to chuck out their number 1 and number 2 line combination, then that's something that he's used to. But if he's playing against those bottom pairing or those bottom six to forwards, Jesus, then I feel like he has a better chance to score and get back that confidence that he has had in the past. And I feel like Sutter is good at reading those type of situations and seeing what players really do need at this point in time. Can like in all consideration to what time of the year it is, and if we're really going to be nitpicking about Monahan being on that fourth line, I think it's actually a good thing for him to really gain that confidence back.
Yep. Yeah, I agree, and I do think the Lions will go through another transformation here again
for sure
at some point. So we'll have to see about that. Anything else specifically about this game? I think we got Pittsburgh. The Flames play Pittsburgh on Thursday. That might be Sidney Crosby's return, which will make that fascinating.
And it might be Jeff Carter's return too, because he's been in COVID protocol as well. So they've been really flying by the seam of their pants here for as we've been considering Pittsburgh to be having crazy center depth. Man, these first. Ever since the beginning of the season, you've had Jeff Carter as your number one center for the first 2 to 3 games, and then he's on COVID protocol until the end of this week. Who knows exactly when he'll be back, if it's going to be for that game or the game after. But and Pittsburgh has been doing decently well considering of there's 2 star players being out.
Well, today, no Malkin, no Crosby, no Rust, no Letang. Big problem. They lost 5-1 to the Pittsburgh Penguins. They lost to the Tampa Bay Lightning 5-1.
Yeah, and
8 Penguins, but
yeah. Understandably so, considering where Tampa Bay is at. But Tampa Bay has other struggles too. Vasilevsky isn't quite up to where we thought he would be, and losing Nikita Kucherov is a massive blow as well. He's on LTIR and probably won't be back until potentially spring. So that's why all the memes are out there with.
No, it's supposed to be only 8 weeks, apparently. According to what I've been reading, it's supposed to be the end of December.
That's so at the beginning of November is when they have to reassess, quote unquote, the LTIR situation. I believe. I remember hearing that on Fan 960 to your point there. But hey, if that's a projection, that's a lot better than I was expecting, because it was his hip last year was the reason why he got he was kept out as long as he was, and he had surgery on it. But this is the other hip, the other side of his body that got tweaked. So as far as the NHL goes and hockey goes, we'd love to have him in the lineup and to see him thrive and snipe a bajillion goals every year. So I can't wait to have him back in the lineup, especially since he's part of my fantasy team.
Fair enough. The other news, Travis Hammonic is in Vancouver. He's expected to go to Abbotsford for some conditioning. As was reported yesterday, that was officially announced today by the Vancouver Canucks. They're down, by the way, 1-0 to the Minnesota Wild as we are speaking in the first intermission. So we'll get to watching that. I think we've covered pretty much everything today. Was there anything that we missed?
Other than Tyler's scared to come back on the podcast, no. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I ain't got nothing else.
Tyler, the scaredy cat, not coming on the podcast.
Yeah. No, that's about it.
That's about it. All right. Well, how do we follow you?
Sorry, taking a drink of water. You follow me at Gordhouse09 on Twitter, and please DM me if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about anything. The weather, hockey, whatever.
It's raining a lot in Vancouver. Can you stop that? Yeah.
I'll try.
Of course, Tyler, TNOBLE, Sean Beardy, Canuck 03, Schneid, Chris is Schneid, SCHNEIDZ. I am KEVOLE, podcast _ hockey, Facebook.com, The Hockey Podcast, YouTube.com, The Hockey Podcast. Subscribe to the audio wherever you get your podcasts. We will be back Thursday. The Crosby-less or Crosby-full Pittsburgh Penguins against the Calgary Flames, as we'll be recapping weekday games for the Calgary Flames, not weekend games, because I do play-by-play on the weekends, so it's a little tough, but we will talk to you all very soon. Bye for now.